The countless questions on starting tank has left me scars and default. But I assure you, my result has never been stronger. In order to assure stability and assure prosperity, the setup tank video has been made for a safe and secure shrimp society.
Hello guys, it's Shrimp Time here, and I hope that this little funny entrance to this video make you laugh. So today's topic of this video is to show you how I set up my tank and to show you some of the phase that tank goes during the cycle period. Many of you ask me different questions, how to set up a tank, how to recognize the tank is aged enough that the nidification cycle has ended. So first of all, you can look on my video about nidification cycle. You will get some idea how the cycle is going on. But now we will talk about the second phase, the phase how I do start my tanks, what products do I use, and afterwards I will show you some of the phases of aging or cycling the shrimp tank. I hope that this video will answer a lot of your questions and will show you how all this process should look like. You need to remember that some of the products like soil, like bacteria, etc., like ceramic that I use, you can use different products. You just need to remember to use good grade products or the ones that were really tested by other hobbyists, other shrimp keepers. So I hope that this video will be a good amount of information for you, and that you will be able to keep those shrimp breeding like crazy, like for example in this pure black line tank. You can write me a comment, what do you think about this pure black line tank, and let's start our topic. So in few seconds you will see the shrimp tank just few days or the first few days after creating it. As you can see, I use under gravel filtration that is driven by air. I use the filter pocket or filter chamber in which I use ceramics and soil. As you can see, maybe some of you are familiar or are not, I use the quadrop ceramic. I think it's quite good, or really good ceramic that works very nice in my tank. You don't need to use quadrop, but remember to use good grade ceramic, because some lower grade ceramics will affect your tank, will change the parameters of tank, and this won't be so good. You also need to remember to resin the ceramic with water so that you will remove the dust from the ceramic. Many of you will ask me why I don't use any sponge in the filter sock or in the filter chamber. I think that sponge isn't that necessary in the filtration, because it can clog. You need to change it or clear it after some time, and for me the tank should run at least 1 year. And in my opinion, if you use very small sponge, it could get clogged with dirt from the tank. And in my experience, I never had an issue that ceramics stopped working just because it didn't have any sponge on top of it. I also use the the soil on the bottom of the tank, but this is mainly for cosmetic and for acquiring the pollution, the dirt from shrimps in the tank and the leftovers of the food. The main filtration and parameters are set by the filtration pocket. In some tanks that you will see in a couple of minutes, I change a bit the size of a filtration chamber. In my opinion, this size filtration chamber that you can see here is very big and it takes a bit of space in my tank, so I decided to make it a bit smaller. It's something like 25-30 liters tank, so and this chamber will be about 3 or 4 liters, so it's really a lot. You need to remember that if you feed the shrimps in the proper way, they don't pollute the water so much. The main pollution in the water you will get by overfeeding. I also will start the tank with RO water, and afterwards, after 1 month, I change most of my water and set up parameters. You need to remember that the soil, especially the Benibachi fluvic that I use in most of my tank, will give some minerals to the water during the aging process. I use also the bowl that you saw at the beginning of the video. It's called Lubao, and it's the food source mainly for fungus and for yeast, especially for yeast and for bacteria. Here you can see a tank after 1 week period. As you can see, I've got a Lubao in this tank as well, but it is created by my own. I've figured out the recipe for the Lubao. It took me some time, some tries to get it done correctly, but as you can see, we have the first stage of development, the tank. We get some of biofilm on the Lubao, some of biofilm and algae growing on the soil. And as I mentioned to you, there is a smaller half-size filtration chamber. In my opinion, it's enough, and thanks to that I have some spare space in the tank, and I can put UJET 3 for the tank and have some more filtration, especially mechanical filtration. This is a second tank. It's run with the classic Lubao I've bought from my friend from Singapore, and as you can see, the tanks are aging in the similar way. So this is the answer for me that the recipe I came with, it's correct. And here you got a tank after 2 or 3 weeks of cycling. The main and the most important thing about this tank is the algae growth you can see. It is achieved by some addition products. You can achieve it by adding some products, or you can achieve it by adding the Lubao, my version or this classical version. The algae you can see grows thanks to the CO2 that is produced during the work time of Lubao, because Lubao is mainly a food source for yeast, and yeast during the reproduction, during the feeding, they create CO2 and alcohol. The alcohol, on the other hand, is an easy, nice source for the bacteria to feed on, for the bacteria that need carbon to live and to thrive. And this changed a bit the approach to cycling the tank, because those bacteria they feed on the ammonia, on the ammonia, and thanks to the process that they do, we got a bit smaller amount of ammonia for the nitrification cycle, so it could take a bit longer. But thanks to the development of those bacteria, we got the algae that will feed on the ammonia, and we got also the beneficial bacteria that will not only feed on the ammonia, but they will also develop a biofilm that afterwards will be eaten with shrimps. And making this process work correctly can speed up not only the cycling process, because you got another source of getting rid of the ammonia from the tank, but it also can speed up the growth of your shrimps. You need to make a couple more things to achieve that, but generally this tank after 1 more week will be ready to produce in very fast way, fast matters shrimps. So here you got my tank, which was set up in the similar way. The only difference from the previous setup is that I didn't use the Lubao on the start, but I added it afterwards. So as you can see, we got a lot of shrimps thriving in this tank, feeding from the food that I put in. But we got also a lot of shrimps that don't feed on this food, but they eat the biofilm and the algae film that is all over the tank. So making the correct cycling process of the tank lets us grow not only fast, but also a lot amount of shrimps. And thanks to all this biofilm that is created in the tank, our shrimps are able to thrive in the tank, and they will have a lot of food source in the future. Of course, you can use the original products that are designed to achieve the similar results. For example, SL Aqua Magic Powder. You can use Benibachi B-Max, which will work very similar to the Lubao. The most important thing is to let your tank have some time to develop that biofilm, to develop that good biological food source. In my opinion, it is more important even than getting a right cycling process, because you can easily make the shrimps survive in your tank. Yeah, it's not that hard to make those shrimps survive, but the harder part starts to keep the good development, good breeding habitat for the shrimps, so that you get a lot of young shrimps, a lot of molting, and permanent buried females, and afterwards lots of alive babies. Here you get another tank, and I show you this tank because here I use a different filtration media. I use not Quadrop, it's Ista, one of Ista's bioceramic, and as you can see, the tank is quite okay. So I think that's all. Thank you for your time. I hope that you like this video. Leave me a thumb up, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. Until the next movie, see you.